beginning to look a lot like Christmas. How are you all? Well, I was not exactly snowed in, but there was some snow and some defrosting to do to get me out of my cottage, and then I got stuck at the end of my lane in the snow, all slidey, and a very, very nice gentleman came along and helped me out. I said, there you go. I said, the tale for today, you rescued an Australian woman from the snow. There is snow in Australia, of course. People don't... Woo! Whoops-a-daisy. Better get in the right tracks, hadn't I? See, I have driven in snow a few times, but I have not dared really to drive on packed snow or ice, and so this is all a bit new for me. But sure, I'm on my way now. Heading over to Swinford today to do some stuff, and I thought, well, look at this winter wonderland. I thought I would just share this moment in time with you all because it's so pretty, and I know that a lot of my audience live in warmer climes, so it might be a bit of novelty for you all to see. A bit of snow, schnockta, ashkelga. The Irish word for snow is schnockta, schnockta. So this is the little town of Kilkelly. Look at the trees all covered in snow, isn't that pretty? To my left is a pub that fell down due to criminal mismanagement by engineers who undermined the foundations, and a pub fell down about 18 months ago. The toaster's still plugged in, you can still see half the kitchen. But how pretty is this? So most schools today have had a snow day. There's not many people out and about, just the foolish and enthusiastic such as myself. I was very lucky that someone came along, very nice gentleman, so I got behind the wheel of my little red car and got me out of difficulty. And then he very kindly gave me some tips. So I'm going to memorialise my tips in my YouTube video so I don't forget them. Second gear, don't rev it, don't hit the brake, and get all the snow off my back window before I start, which was very silly of me, I know. But I thought I will fall off at the first corner, but I didn't even make it to the first corner. The first corner was where I got stuck. My goodness. Moo cows are knee deep in the snow. Somewhat unperturbed though, apparently. Where I grew up, in Donnybrook, Western Australia, it's between 30 and 40 degrees at the moment this time of year. 100 degrees in the shade, as we used to say. But over here, it is 0 degrees. Ooh. Slippy. Like black ice is like all the ice that is thrown up, it's churned up, and then it refreezes. Gets wet, refreezes, gets wet, refreezes. You don't even know it's there. You hit it and you're away. Snow looks extremely cozy when you're inside the cottage, of course. And when I get back to my cottage, I shall have to light my fire because the gas cylinder in my little tiny portable gas heater sputtered to a stop this morning, of course, wouldn't it? Oh, ooh, things getting a little hairy. Well, you know, if this is the last testament and memorial of Mama Duck, Aussie comedian, writer and broadcaster, please remember that I regret nothing. Je ne regrette rien. Right. I'm currently in the middle of writing a one-woman show, and it is going to be entitled Careful What You Wish For. When I was a child, I used to draw pictures of, when I drew my houses, they were always double stories with chimneys and things, and my mother would say, well, that's very old-fashioned. You might see things like that in England, but over here in Australia there's usually all single stories, and we don't have fireplaces because they're not very efficient, etc., etc. And I thought, well, I want to live in England or Ireland or somewhere where there is, you know, from whence my forebears came. I love Australia, but I always felt that, like, you know, white people are, of course, extremely alien species to Gondwanaland, to Australia. And I was always curious about how exactly my family ended up in Australia and where we came from and that sort of thing. And it wasn't until after I met and married and hung out with a Mayo man, well, a Dubliner, but with Mayo roots, that I discovered I was, in point of fact, from the west of Ireland originally. My family came from Mayo and from Donegal, so the DNA is back. Alas, the driving skills have a bit of catching up to do. I'm more used to, like, bitumen and gravel and driving in the heat than I am driving in this. But I have been here for, I've been in Ireland for nearly 9 years now, and I love it. I love it beyond all reason. But it doesn't snow like this very often, so you don't actually get that much practice, if you know what I mean, driving in these conditions. Just a couple of times a year. And then, of course, if you don't go out those couple of times a year that it actually happens, you're not improving your skill set at all. So one must step out of one's comfort zone. Yesterday I got a day's work as an extra on a film being shot down in Wicklow on the middle east, southeast sort of corner of the teddy bear that is the island of Ireland. And it was Baltic down there. It was very beautiful. Alas, I didn't get to take very many pictures or videos for myself because I left just before 2 o'clock yesterday morning from Mayo in the dark and in the snow. As soon as I got onto the highway, it started with heavy flurries of snow, and it didn't stop snowing until I got to Longford. Then I was in Wicklow all day yesterday on the film set, which was great crack. Met some people, hung out, saw some interesting things happen, and then by the time we were dismissed from the set and let go for the day, well, it was dark again. It was like after 5, and then I had to cope with peak hour traffic in freezing cold conditions in the dark. Missed my turn, got stuck in Dublin city centre peak hour traffic. Finally got out to the north of the city and on the road back to home. It was absolutely Baltic, and then as just before the Mayo border, as I got to the turn off to Ballahadreen. Some people say Ballahadreen is Mayo, some say it's Roscommon, but it's literally as soon as I got to the turn off to Ballahadreen, the snow started coming down again. Well, I mean, it had already been falling in Mayo for several hours apparently, but I drove into the snow basically. It didn't start snowing. I returned to the land of the snow. An eternal winter. This is amazing though, when like, if you put it in context of a little girl who was a bookworm, a shy little girl who was a bookworm, and the first book that I ever remember consciously stealing, I don't steal books anymore by the way, but remembering I was like 7 turning 8, one of the books in the classroom, like just for reading during leisure time, was The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe. And I was entranced. Well, I confess I took that book home and I did not return it. I think my teacher knew where it went and she didn't say anything. Oh my goodness, The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe. And I was so captivated by the idea of snow. I mean, no one wants to be in snow eternally, but I just dreamt of seeing snow. Dreamt of all the things. And I got my wish. But as I said, careful what you wish for. Sometimes you might end up trapped. Just unable to get out of your own lane when you have to be somewhere else. But isn't it beautiful? Well, you can see out here in the sunshine, because the sky is blue, out here in the sunshine you can see some of the snow is melting and the ice is starting to slide off some of the trees. But where I live, in my little cottage, I actually live down in a valley, in a little hollow, and the sun does not reach large parts of my little garden, my little wild garden, so the snow often doesn't melt and it will stay there longer. Sometimes I would ring the school or work or whatever to say, is there a snow day today? And I get a very surprised, puzzled, sort of like, no, we're on. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I felt like an idiot. Because as soon as I got out of my lane, there was no snow anywhere else, but my lane would still be, my lane would still be like a foot deep in snow, but nowhere else. It's just because the sun didn't reach it. Alright, well I'm turning onto the highway, so I'm going to turn you guys off. First of all, I'll say g'day and goodbye. How are you all? Hitting the brake carefully. At least they grit the roads with salt and stuff, the council, so it's quite safe on the bigger roads. Not so much on my little lane, as I said. Not sure. That was a bit of an adventure for the day. Alright, you will see me again. When my cottage is warm and cosy, I might go live and read something or something, you never know. Alright, thanks for joining me. I shall see you when you got nothing on.